Chapter 2.10, Alternative Media and Process. What is alternative media? A lot of it just means that they didn't use traditional materials to create the art. Conceptual art is really kind of broad. The idea was influenced during the Dada art movement when Marcel Duchamp made what's known as the ready-mades. For example, the found object, the urinal on your far left. And then the light installation there in the center, and then the woman dancing, or not dancing, excuse me, walking on a wire that looks like when she walks it dips to the horizon. All of these are alternative media compared to like painting or sculpting. But what they do is, as it says here, they open up possibilities of making art from everyday things and images from popular culture or from simple ideas, which is illustrating each of these. Okay, so this one's sort of funny. This was an artwork that was intentionally supposed to self-destruct, but it exploded. So I don't know that he planned that, but he had sketches for this. This was in front of a live audience, so it was quite an event. There's a link here to a video for this. This is another conceptual piece. So the one that was self-destructive, obviously the artwork, the object was not important. It was the idea behind it. Here the object is like a pamphlet, like a poster. So it's not something grand like an oil painting or a gold sculpture. It's rather inexpensive materials, but the idea is not the object itself, it's the image and the text on the image. Your gaze hits the side of my face, which sounds like a very unwelcomed stare. Okay, The Wishing Tree by Yukuna was kind of like a performance piece, but she created these trees, and once she had success with the first one, she had these all over the world, and she would ask participants to write a wish and then tie it to the tree. And it started in the 60s, but then, like I said, she ends up going all over the world with this. So it's more conceptual. It's not about the physical art work being something, you'd sell at auction, perhaps. Let's see, we'll keep going. Performance art. So this is where the artist creates the artwork or has the artwork created actually in front of people. So here beneath, this is Yves Klein. In 1960, he had nude women roll around in paint and then make their body impressions onto a canvas. And those are the impressions on the right. So it was a performance. Here's one from your book. The artist is present. The woman in the red is the actual performance artist, and she doesn't move. She's very still, and you just look at her in the eyes, and she invites anyone in the audience to just sit quietly in front of her. And I looked into this, and she actually has caused people to cry, like not out of meanness, but they just look into her eyes and something comes out of them. And so I know it's kind of bizarre. Now this is also a performance piece. For 5 days, the artist locked himself up with this coyote, and he was, in World War II, he was a German Nazi that his plane had crashed, and he was cared for by felt, and he used a lot of the same materials of where his plane had crashed by the local people there. That those same materials are in this performance piece, with the exception of the coyote. So the coyote represents America, and so at first he and the coyote were at odds, and then over the course of a few days they could coexist together. So as you can imagine, America, even the American art group, community was not interested in him, having that he had been a Nazi in World War II. But they did, eventually were able to coexist with him in their art community. Here's just another image of that. So happenings are a type of performance work, but they're not predictable. Some might even say I guess I would say when the artist Joseph Boyce actually locks himself up with a coyote would be happening. This is one that's often used in textbooks. It's by Capro, and he had his students lick jelly off of the hood of his car, so he had no idea where their tongue would go. I know this sounds gross, but this is just what happened. These were real popular in the 60s, and since there's an unpredictable quality to it, the type of lines that they made on that hood could look very similar to the lines that were splattered onto these Pollock paintings. So I think you can see now why I'm saying these are alternative media. They're not traditional art materials. Let's see, keep going. Installation. So the artist creates a new atmosphere within a space. So in this case, in the center of this art museum, the artist installed several of the same type of vehicles and had light. It almost looked like fireworks or explosions coming out of it, and like you were seeing the same car flip and turn like it had fallen from the top floor. Carol Walker, this is one from your book, has a projector that's projecting the colors over those black silhouettes that she painted on the wall. And the projection is kind of this swampy, organic landscape. And so what happens is when you walk in between the projector and the wall, your silhouette, your cast shadow is put onto that narrative. And so she's trying to get you involved in the story. Okay, that stops.